the Sylas. They're actually not going to go towards that. Yagao's actually going to be locking in Ryze. So this is a roaming champion, which Yagao has made a name on. He was, of course, a big Galio player, played a lot of Ryze towards the start of the split. Wasn't necessarily the most successful thing for BLG. As we said, their start of the split was crazy. Please do it. Please. Shanji, I need this. Forget about the Ryze. Forget about everything else on the other side. We get it!
Oh, yeah.
He's got it, the damn robot!
I know you were waiting for it, but look, again, it was left open with the Thresh as well. Look at this little skirmisher as On picks up the Blitzcrank. All right, last time I saw him in Blitz, he went 0-10 to open up the game. Now, I just have to launch something here that's really, really important, that Yagao in 2021 is either one of those years, he was like 0-8 on the Ryze. Historically, he is 21 out of 26, 21 and 26 for a win-loss there. So Yagao has a negative win rate on this Ryze. It's been one of his worst champions. So hopefully, not only the Ryze, but the Blitzcrank can subvert expectations, because going up against one of Shanji and Creme's, by the way, one of their OTPs, that's kind of exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about OMG in this year, it has been a combination of basically two things. Either you have something like a Yone combo with something like Yone Sejuani or Yone Maokai, or you have the Rumble thrown in with that as well. Typically, their big combos in terms of what OMG have been doing in terms of their creative drafting has been through the top side of the map, and Shanji has been pulling out the Rumble kind of out of meta and making it work, and it breaks the meta in a lot of ways, particularly with Rumble buffs coming through as well. When you hit the Electro Harpoons onto targets, if you hit 2 of them while they're overheated, your magic resist drops by 40%. That's going to help out Creme a huge amount too. It means that you're not punished as hard for the double AP combo. So suddenly, if you pick up Stolen Sejuani ultimate, Wukong spinning through the team, Electro Harpoons hit onto a target, and there's a Rumble all over the top of it, the damage is absolutely absurd. That is the combo which OMG are looking for. Pin down that single target, just nuke him out of existence.
I will also say Blitzcrank ulti on Sylas for someone that often sets up some of these skirmishes or partial engages. It's also very powerful with AP scaling as well. And silence over a Rumble ulti, you're just stuck there to absorb it. That's the kind of damage I like to see. Is OMG going in for an invade to start this off, but On is a Blitzcrank. Now, Creme, are you ready to get pulled in? It just depends on what he wants to do. There's the abscond duck, the flash away on hook. He got Ppgod. Okay, BLG now makes the turn. The Ignite's down. It's a 4 versus 4. All for the fifth, the 4th place man. Now Shanji's doing what he does best. It's a double going over. Elk picked up the kill. The Zeri getting blood ain't good as Yagao. Has to flash over the wall. Shun's close to dying. He flashes 2. Aki comes in, and at the end of the day, it's a 2-for-1 with so many summoners to kick off game 2.
Yeah, so Shanji loses his Ignite, but Bin loses his Flash. We have blown 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 summoners in 1.5 minutes in the game. I love these teams.
All the time, you know, people talk about the LPL. This is what they mean. This is exactly what they mean. Oh, God. You got to love it, especially since, you know, we did talk about this game for OMG, letting Shanji really run the show. Creme as well. We're going to be honest, Nightmare, these solo lanes are laners that, if they snowball, can take over and win games pretty quick.
Shanji kind of walks over to the other side of the lane. Doesn't exactly have Flame Spitter like the Overheat level 1. Very interested to see what happens in this top lane matchup now, particularly without that Flash and the Ignite. You're absolutely right, talking about how potentially various carries on this map can take over the game. Got some specialties on, charging up the hook. Ppgod standing in front of the minion. You sure you want to do that?
Okay, nice little touch-up. Yeah, he does have hook, doesn't he? Here it goes, and doesn't hit Elk, unfortunately. As soon as On gets himself a Rocket Fist, things are going to get a little bit more dangerous. But for now, Elk hits level 2 by himself. On was late to lane, but Ppgod and Abel, they were here together, so as they get the push up here, they will have level advantage.
Okay, so craziness aside from level 1, what does this kind of mean for the game? We have some kills across, I don't know, the entire map at this point, but when we're looking at how these junglers can now exploit these lanes, that is going to be where the real breakpoints happen. Shen doesn't have a flash gank on Sejuani. That is one of the stronger things you can do on that champion. Aki, because you have that warrior trick to kind of catch people out of position, kind of get into the lane without them necessarily seeing you under that guise of invisibility. Maybe he has a few more options, but as it stands, Shun trying once again to walk in and spot the enemy jungler. Did that very well in game 1.
A lot of base damage here on the Sedge. Abel and Ppgod were starting to hopper those, so Shun backs away, but it still deflects the red buff for now. As Shanji and Ben are going to continue trading very aggressively up in the top side. As Shanji is into Tom Cruise's danger zone, so damage comes through a little bit thicker, but Ben is still winning out this lane with a big CS lead up on the top side.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, you don't just get to drop that. Don't expect
I do. I absolutely do.
Oh, gosh. Shanji on Rumble. Most entertaining thing I could have basically wished for as well. But OMG, as we said, very important for them to pick up this game. Craziness aside, crazy. I mean, I know crazy as our game is the LPL kind of slogan. Particularly for OMG, it feels like they are the absolute epitome of that. They buy into so many of these fights. So hopefully OMG can kind of keep up with that, keep up with the pace of the game, keep things going. Once they hit those first ultimates of the game, that's where things are really going to start popping. We don't quite have that at this moment, though. No one's particularly made inroads towards vision into the enemy jungle for OMG. There is, however, wards from BLG. Spot out likes of Aki moving around the map. See if BLG can do anything with that. Ben is pushed in top side towards this spot to spawn on top.
They know he's there because the ward was placed down. Aki runs in, gets a big hit, but BLG can't respond yet. No Realm Warp available, and On has only just gone back and got regular boots. So with those potato bags around his feet, he walks through, and BLG sizzle, on the play. I was going to say, though, Mira, at least for BLG, this is a good early game because you're talking a lot about these ultis coming online for OMG. For BLG on the other side, when you have Zeri, Ryze, and a Jax, like, how fun is it going to be to side lane as this game goes on?
Yeah, the side lane is going to be absolutely absurd when you get kind of Jax with the Sejuani in the back pocket to get through those permafrost passives. So if anyone roams to Jax's lane, it's going to be very difficult for OMG to play away from that. I think OMG, with that in mind, want to be trying to just push the side lane very quickly, not stand in an elongated 1v1 if at all possible, and then just look for the big picks. You've got to have Creme or Ppgod. Maybe the Graviton from Aphelios can help out as well. Can't forget that as well. We didn't really include that in the combo when we talked about it. Creme, speaking of that, going towards mid lane.
Ppgod roam is good. There is a flash there, flash play, and into the wave just in case. Ignite was put down, but Ppgod with a beautifully timed roam, and Threshers in this series seem to be taking a lot.
Yeah, we can see that Ppgod was very selfless at level 1. Tanking up On's hook was, of course, the person who went down for that. Kind of went, okay, gonna go tank that hook for someone else. On, though, is going to be in mid lane. Clearing out the wave. Yagao for a hook to come through. Currently a 2v3, but On trying to find the easiest hook right now. Oh, hang on, that's one thing. When you steal the Blitzcrank ult, you get the passive as well. So you get the little lightning bolt. You'll see that come down. That's actually really important. That's a lot of DPS for the time you hold that.
True. You get to push the wave just that little bit quicker as well. So, nice little spot out there. Creme, I'm more interested in the activation of it because the AP damage is going to be quite absurd even as the game goes on. Meanwhile, on the top side, Ben is just getting a cheeky back away while Shanji pushes up this wave, but he has TP to come back to. And Ben will still maintain about a 3 CS lead at the end of the day here up at the top side. Be curious to continue watching that matchup as Nomura.
One thing, not quite sure about this. We could have probably figured this out. Probably should know this by now. If Zeri is silenced, can they even cast Q? Because that means that Elk can't really do anything when he's silenced for that little bit. Like
well,
Creme,
it's
could
an
be a
auto
difference maker in
attack,
these late game
so
fights.
technically no. It would be his right click that he couldn't do. Because that's a spell.
Well, it applies spell effect. He's going to potentially find the effect of Aki's staff smashing him across the back of the head. Creme does have that ult. I have to see that as it comes through. I'm just wondering if he can even press his Q button, because it's a spell-like effect, and it's an auto-attack kind of based thing. He's going to walk in towards this dragon. Shouldn't going to be forced to back off. Creme still has that ult, of course.
I mean, the smite's going to come through any moment now. Shouldn't have to die to get in, and OMG just get a free lead while BLG tried to sneak it from under their nose. So OMG, a net positive win here. As Equalizer is also used in the top lane as we split our camp.
Shanji overheats, but you don't really want to trade auto for auto with a Jax. Trying to get that cannon. Does just manage to space his way into that one. Shanji, of course, has his Ignite in this laning phase. When you see Rumble tops nowadays, they don't really want to teleport back to lane. They basically control their lane state by just having absurd kill threat. See, what happened here was... what exactly does happen here? He doesn't really even do that much for that. It's not like he's doing it to clear the wave. Maybe he's just looking to trim it just in case. Ben was looking for a dive afterwards. Of course, Ben has that ultimate, but most impactful ult.
Well, hopefully the next one's a little bit better. Rumble ult, not the longest cooldown in any given game, but Hextech Alternator is now picked up, so kind of expecting a little bit more impact. As you were saying, that 6 mark very important for OMG as the skirmish comes alive, especially around this herald that's now sitting there. BLG are moving up to it on spawn pretty much. They're going to start this one off first, and it seems like OMG are willing to commit with Thresh already moving up and leaving Abel in the bottom lane.
Shanji won't have ult. Creme does have his right now, but if he can't reach Shun, he can't steal the Sejuani ult. He's already taken it on, so you won't have players. What can they do with this?
He's been hooked, and there's a Glacial Prison as well. Onto Creme, he flashes away, but it's matched. Shun has split his focus, though. Bin's been left on an island. He's out with the Rumble thanks to Yagao, but Yagao doesn't have a flash himself. The Ryze ult saving his partner, but not himself. BLG Nymeria, they were all over the place in that fight. Wait, what?
Shun hops back into the pit. He has his Q. Maybe he was just trying to see, because he didn't have vision over the pit to see if they were going to carry on with that. While all this is happening, as you talked about, AD carries choosing different things. On lands another hook.
Yeah, but now for Ppgod, can he buy some time so I can get in? The Cyclone is not available as used before. Elk now joins in. He has himself the Lightning Crash himself. But Elk is far away from using it. Creme now rejoins, teleported to get back into this fight as Herald resets. And yet again, is somebody going to deal with Abel? Well, Yagao's coming down, but red and white means everything's all right with his time with the turret. 3 plates taken.
What a weird series of events. Last Herald, OMG just kind of overcommitted and got punished for it, but it's not like BLG have a big Mega Gnar or Aki is massively disconnected from his team. OMG, the beautiful thing about this team is that when they have the tools to fight, they're actually really good at finding them. The problem is when they don't have the tools to fight, they kind of get picked off. In this one, even though the hook lands and all the CC does go onto Creme, the rest of the team is there to follow. Crucial Cyclone means that Creme doesn't have so much follow-up damage kind of taken away from him. Been saved by Yagao though. Means that of course it's not going to be a kind of a 2 for none. It's just going to be Yagao kind of sacrificed to the back end of that play. He walks away from the roll-up and understanding that if he gets cancelled, both of them die. Just the Ryze going down. But at the end of that, Herald is still alive. Shun now going back to it. And I don't know if we're going to see a contest for this one. Looks like OMG are currently not pushing in lanes. BLG should get this. They got something weird to do.
Elkanon is sitting through mid, making sure that pressure stays there, but hang on,
getting
OMG,
in a couple of seconds.
They're coming late to the party. They did a smite down, they do get it, but for BLG, how's the turn going to go? Equalizer almost up and available, but Bin gets the ulti and the hook as well. Shanji will not be equalizing this fight as Shun goes down. Speaking of which, the static build there as well. Nymeria, I hope you're looking at that interaction, because Elk was still firing. A double kill comes through, he's 3-0. Abel might get the turret, but BLG get the blood.
Pretty sure he wasn't actually hit by the ult, which is why he was still firing. But OMG, they didn't have all of their ults to hit them with. Shanji, you look at his ultimate cooldown there. The reason he had to flash away from so much was he was trying to flash away to get to the point where he could actually cast his ult. The timing was not there from OMG. They're ahead a little bit in gold because of Abel just being permanently stuck in this bot lane. But OMG continually fighting towards that Herald. They just about get away with it in that first fight, which they engage in the correct timing. They have the tools to fight. But again, OMG do not have that like little angel on the shoulder saying, hey, maybe we should not fight. The devil is here saying, no, go in. Do all of these things. And it means that they're just not in the right position to play through moments like this. And Elk manages to space out Creme's ultimate, who's in a really awkward spot. Creme doesn't manage to get a back-end kill on this one. Elk just kind of like sat there and goes, I'll take that one for free. And now Elk walks away with 3 kills.
Yep. He already started with one. I mean, again, turret plating's great for Abel, but the gold value from kills still going to be super impactful for this Zeri, who's been set up to succeed again. Having said that, Abel does have Gale Force. He's still had a hell of a lot of gold funneled in solo plating as well. But as Shun puts the Herald down mid, we have to talk about other members of BLG. Yagao should be set up here depending on how close he gets at the turret, while OMG start off this dragon.
Yeah, so is that Abel going to be able to switch through from those chakrams, the Severum, up to the Calibrum? He'll have rifle turret soon after this point. Strong point of power where maybe OMG can mind control BLG into forgetting about the Aphelios very briefly. BLG, they have vision control right now though. That's an important thing to see. Sometimes you forget about the vision toggle. As soon as Blitzcrank's on Fog of War, becomes a very different champion. Watch to see if On can have as impactful a game as he did out of his player of the game in that first game. Blitzcrank can very much run the map. He's left off vision.
Yeah, again, mobility boost for On. Kind of expect to see a similar performance from last game. where he was just hiding in Fog of War, as you said, you know, playing a very different game. It's like Thresh as well. You never know where they're going to come from. They're always missing on the map. They're roaming support that starts syncing up with jungle. And that's something that On did great in game 1 with Shun as well. Especially since he is melee and he brings them close to him. Easy to get permafrost when your target gets a couple of autos to start things off. So
very true.
We do see Dragon for OMG going off in the span of 2 now opening up the game. But no, Mira, my biggest question is towards that next Herald, and maybe what happens towards bottom lane now is, what?
How does
Got
that
Abel's
hit?
static field. It's double electric field. The eels come out as Abel's lucky to be alive, but Shun has ulti. It's blocked. You hero, absolute hero, until you realize the AD's dead anyway. Yagao comes through, stuns him in place. Shun under turret, gets them close, but man, electricity vibing in this 2v2.
Danger, high voltage. Abel gets absolutely toyed with by On. What a hook. I need to see a replay of that one again because it felt like it was a really awkward moment to hit. Abel kind of walked up with his Severin Q active, was like spinning around with a lifesteal pistol going, haha, I'm going to auto-attack this ward really quickly and kill it. Does mean you're not stood safely behind your minions though, because, I mean, just look at this, right? Wants to clear out this vision in the brush. But like, oh, he hitbox snipes him.
Oh!
No, see, it's the dematerializer.
What?
Dematerializer. He charges up the kill. You see that little particle going down. It's very easy to miss. Abel does not get the memo, and despite Aki playing hero after that point, On absolutely outplays the Aphelios.
On absolute demonizing at the moment. Are you ready for another hook? The static field comes out again. He is dead this time. He was feeling it. That dematerializer, I don't care that he just died. That was cracked.
Huge moment as well, because remember, Abel's basically been left alone to farm this whole game. A lot of the reason why this gold is not out of hand is because Abel got so many plates towards bot side. He's not been able to join these fights just yet. So we'll see what happens when he finally gets to do so. But for the time being, with On landing hooks and punishing him, that Aphelios hasn't been a factor.
Oh man, I mean, that, like, the timing of that was insane. You know, On can have these moments of running in, and again, it was Blitzcrank last time. We saw On go 0 and 10, and we're just wondering, what is he doing? And then you have moments like this where On is just everywhere on the map. We're going to have a look at a replay. I was going to say, replay the same play again. Show us the dematerializer again.
Well, what we can see is Shanji kind of playing around Rumble ult this time and actually getting some decent damage onto Bin. We haven't seen Shanji have the largest impact in this game, despite him being on this pocket pick of his, which he picks more than basically anyone else in the world, it feels like, at this point. But at that moment, you can see the value where if all of these fights are super long range and you're fighting into, super short range rather, you're fighting into that Rumble ult, the equalizer, things get really high damage really quickly, and we haven't even hit the first item from Shanji yet. Has himself some magic pen in the boots, and potentially might do if he builds up something like a Protobelt after that point. I wonder if he's going to go Night Harvester. That's been what we've seen him build towards more often than not. It's a much stronger one-item spike nowadays because of the changes to that item earlier in 2023. But BLG need to start really respecting the big burst damage that can come out of OMG the first start of fight.
From big old boxing Blitzcrank, the pick still flying through across the rift though. Like you mentioned out for Shanji, we'll be keeping an eye on that first item. As you talked about, Night Harvester is something that most Rumbles have been going towards. But again, wait and see here from what I'd call a close OTP of the champ. BLG starting the Herald though, and Nymera looks like it's about mid-priority now, and just evening things out before moving to this, because everyone is here.
Because the thing about pushing in mid lane is that means you don't have to walk through these really tight choke points where things get really scary really quickly. Elton can pop over a wall when the Sejuani ult flies over. BLG, they want to choose their terrain so they're not caught into the Wukong Rumble Cyclone. Once again, it feels like, kind of like the first game when we had the cannon threat. OMG, if they find a good flank and they get to push in and have vision to choose their angle, BLG need to be very afraid. And compared to the first game, OMG do actually have more vision to work with and more gold to work with. That doesn't mean these hooks aren't scary for Fog of War.
That's right, and the cooldown's getting low. Ppgod has to flash away from the Glacial Prison. Shun throwing it out left, right, and center. His cooldown's getting less as well. On continuing to hover. Now, he's only level 7. Having said that, Rocket Grab is not max, so ignore my cooldown point, and TP's going to come through. Shanji with the equalizer you mentioned, that's something to look out for, but right now I'm worried as On misses the hook. Now Creme takes the static field. A good fight for OMG. They turn onto Yagao. There it is, equalizer. Zones him out as well. A great fight for OMG. In fact, Elk has to get out of there. He's firing from over the wall, but Shun's now dead as well. Ben left on his lonesome. Oh, the hook doesn't connect. 3 in a row, down it goes, and OMG fight fire with fire.
Game 1, OMG could not fight from an even standpoint. They got blown out of lane. They didn't have the vision. BLG shut them out. But OMG, when they have any semblance of an opening, they are so proficient at taking it. Maybe you can question when they probably should back away from a fight, but that's not the case in this draft. OMG, very important for them to walk away with at least 1 game win today. And it's fights like this which bring them closer to doing so. It's the Thresh in the last game from On, which was a real difference maker. This time Ppgod on the pick in game 2 sets things up for success. It's CC on top of that root rumble ult. OMG, this is a good example of what the CC can lead into when they get to just spin around with all of that big AoE.
Unlucky on the hook, but still, if it was able, I don't know if On really wanted that. I think he probably would have killed Elk and On at the end anyway.
No, I feel like there's a certain point where Abel, once he hits a certain amount of items, has to rename himself to Pain to become just like the original murderer.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I got that thing. You know, that slight, like, out there reference, Abel and Cain. Yeah.
I feel like every time he plays well, he just calls himself Enable. I mean, that was always my thing because he does have games like this. I mean, honestly, he's stayed in the bottom lane. He's gotten the success off the back of that.
And if he goes, like,
posturing.
Legendary, can he become, like, Fable at that point?
Oh, yeah.
Work with that?
Yeah.
There's
so many options.
This is, like, so many options. I'm glad we're discussing this right now. You know what? Tune into playoffs. I'm sure we'll bring out a couple of them then, because both these teams are, again, they're fighting for seeding in the kind of the specifics of that. OMG would love to get past, at least kind of be seeded into the second round rather than the first round. Otherwise, you've got to run through the entire gauntlet. It's obviously a very difficult thing in the LPL. We've got a lot of very good teams waiting at every rung. But yeah, both these teams looking to kind of seal out their regular season with a good run of form.
And again, this is all about OMG trying to get themselves out of that first round too. All they need is an individual game, as you said at the opening. All OMG need is 1 game win, whether it's a loss of the series or not. They will be 6th. It's huge. As top esports, they're hoping for a 2-0 here now. Nymira, my stream has gone epically laggy. I don't know about you, brother.
I was going to mention it, but I'm here like watching it 3 FPS. We see it, the ults land.
I've got it now as well. On's just dead. Under turret, they don't care. Shanji with great equalizer. And look at the poke. It can't be matched. BLG just have to sit back and hope that they can clear waves. They've committed Ben to the sideline to try and trade, but I mean, is it worth it in the end?
I mean, I've discovered the reason for the feed recovering at that point. Of course, Lord Shanji determined that we must see his big ultimate come across in this play, because this is the first time we see Creme steal the Sejuani ult and combo it up with it. OMG, so many different options to kind of play around the big kind of CC of stolen ultimates with Sylas. Of course, Creme is one of his specialty picks too, but OMG, they have themselves now mid lane turret destroyed. They have bot lane outer turret destroyed as well. And with Dragon spawning in 2 minutes, those two towers being down gives OMG really good ability to secure vision towards this top bot side of the map and allow them to get towards potentially a good setup towards a Soul Dragon fight.
They'll be in a great position to set themselves up for hold a second. A rock grab, that's not the real Arky though. Set themselves up for that Infernal Soul as you were setting up for. It's in Infinity Edge already picked up. It's second item for Abel. It's going to give him that 60% crit. Sorry, it's 40 now. I keep thinking Infinity Edge 60. But long have the times passed. But still, I mean, Abel, his crit damage is going to be huge. And let's be real, Creme's also in a great position here with his Rod of Ages, his Zonyas now as well, his ability to play fights where we talked a lot about these ultis and these big burst carries on OMG. I think we're hitting part of the climax here for OMG.
Yeah. I mean, we've been speaking a lot about OMG because it does feel like they're the ones kind of choosing the fights. They've had the big team fights. Elk still hasn't died, so there is a point where now, you know, 2.5 items, maybe if that gets to kind of fly off the handle, Elk can make things a little more interesting at that point. It does feel a little bit difficult though if he doesn't have anyone alive on his team to fight behind, which is not what Zeri particularly wants, but that is the win condition from BLG. If Elk can kind of find a pocket to really start cleaning up the fight when he is not in the initial engage.
30 seconds till we get towards it though. 30 seconds for BLG to find some kind of advantage and stop this Soul. Hook's going to go into a Raptor, unfortunately, as We're looking at both Blitzcrank, both Thresh here, Ppgod and On alike. Creme has taken away the Grandmaster at arms, but Ben is pushing a solo lane. He's in that top side with teleport available. He's going to get the wave crash for the fight, but he got that with Aki going in by himself before anyone was ready to equalize it down as well. Ben's now on a collapse too. BLG have numbers advantage, but Shun has to flash away. Scared of Creme going through and buying that time requested. Ben's coming through. There we go. A two-man Grandmaster flashed away from the hook though. On would have had Abel in his hands. The Ppgod gets flashed on. Yagao a bit ambitious there. We're going a bit whoopsie-daisy, but BLG will at least keep that timer flowing.
Yeah, huge mistake from Aki, but BLG pick up the pieces. Ben pushes in that side lane, cuts off OMG at the pass, but they are now going for a revenge Baron. They do have Sever and Crescendum. That's going to be a lot of Baron damage. BLG, I think they've spotted it out. Shun has Smite. The damage is going very, very heavily, though.
But Shun is going to come here in the nick of time. OMG pull off preemptively, too. With the ward down, Baron reset. OMG have no choice but to face it off the way. BLG still looking for a pick. You can see On has Hex Flash. And as Abel spotted out, has been actually spotted out and actually getting ganked on. He doesn't have ulti either. He's got Flash available. That Cyclone wasn't used in the previous fight. Ben flashes over the wall. Aki matches. Chasing up with Cyclone. He gets the movement speed. Leap strike away, but bonked on the head by Monkey. So Aki will at least get some kind of revenge.
Imagine if he had a real weapon. Of course, Aki does in this case. Really struggled in that last play. Meant that BLG could walk away with the team fight win. Didn't have to fear the Cyclone. Ben, though, being shut down on a side lane, important moment for OMG. One of the big parts of that last play, last couple of minutes has been that Ben can at least shove in side lanes and stop OMG from kind of being able to find the perfect engage. Ben can find himself his own different angles, but now with Ben being down, he's going to have to teleport into the play. Baron might be down before he's even alive, though.
It's so quick, isn't it? It's so quick. The rocket grab hits Baron in the head on the noggin. He now sits at 5K,
Shun's not here just
4K,
yet.
3K. Shun, you're right. It's going to be slow in. Arctic Assault. It's late. He gets one-man ulti on the Creme, but he goes golden in the nick of time. And Elk over the wall. He's hitting only a clone with the equalizer. Zones him out, slows him down. The hook onto On. Great, but Elk flashes over the wall. It's a Zeri moment. I'm spotting it. Zeri, Zeri, Zeri again. Just say it. Zeri versus Aphelios. How many years? Well, this time it's a couple of hundred, but Ben spins the win after the 5K damage. 80 carries died. BLG survived. And I just love that League of Legends is all about who zaps more in the bottom lane.
But somehow, in the midst of it, Shanji still manages to clean up Zeri. Elk dies for the first time in this game, and the zapping is ended prematurely. OMG, they after kind of losing that last dragon fight, they try and find their way to get a revenge onto the Baron, can't pick themselves up a neutral objective, and because there is, of course, no way that OMG can sit, kind of ruminate, try to figure out the next way through. They must always be fighting. They head towards that Baron. They do pick it up at the cost of 4 members in a very mixed fight. They're still a little bit ahead in gold. They do have one Baron left on Aki. I'm not really sure what they can do with that kind of Baron play, though. There isn't that much you can do with Aki kind of being sat in the lane buffing up those guys.
Watch again, Nightmare, because again, it was off the back of Baron already being taken, and BLG, I guess, shouldn't just took so long to die.
It did. It took a long time, and because when you're kind of tanking the Baron itself, you've already kind of used a lot of your big cooldowns to try and take down the front line. Elk, much like all of our great Zeri players in the LPL, just has a really good sense of when you can dash in and actually do damage. Of course, towards the end of it, doesn't quite calculate the whole rumble damage thing towards it. We're fighting again. Down on the replay.
I don't know, you kind of cursed Elf there a little bit. Cyclone number 2 is going to come out, waiting for the hook from On, but he's rooted out. Yagao, great, and now Aki close to dying, but Creme takes over the reins instead. Kingslayer heals him up. We come back from a replay, and the game might just be over.
Well, Aki still has the Baron buff. He's Rumble Equalizer coming in clutch. Shanji got in the damn robot.
Ben.
OMG looks like they're going towards their first win.
I mean, Ben needs to come back, but will he be there in time? It's an Aphelios with red and white. Again, everything's all right. OMG left the one next to turret. His Yagao golden mention next is exposed. OMG is still in the running. Ben with beautiful ulti, but it's too late. OMG keep their spirits alive.
This is such an OMG game, such a BLG game from maybe the start of the split, but now they have broken their 2-0 split, their 2-0 streak rather. They won a lot of series back-to-back, and with clean wins to BLG, it felt like they were finding a real run of form, but in this game, a couple of pocket picks come out from the side of OMG, and now with that win, Top Esports will now be locked in 7th. They cannot get past that rung in the regular season, which means that Top Esports will be seeded into the very first round of playoffs.
To be fair, they deserve to be there. Let's be real. OMG, where they are right now, though, I mean, look, again, a game win puts them back to +5. A game win leads to a potential series win. Their chance to get up to 10 as well and put BLG beside them. Now, you already mentioned BLG can't be overtaken by OMG, but at the very least, this was such a big win because OMG are no longer in the first round of playoffs. Like, that's everything for them.
Yeah, and, it's not like these teams are going to be going towards, like, the very top spots at this point where you're automatically seeded into that double elimination. But that doesn't mean you don't get advantages out of seeing teams play that first round of playoffs. The LPL playoff schedule is absolutely brutal. There are games day in, day out. It's very, very harsh in terms of the teams which have to go the whole length of the gauntlet, especially if they have to keep prepping for teams later and later in. Managing to skip one best of 5, see some footage of the first teams which play as well, allows you to have a bit more time, at least to prep and see what you can come up with there. So with that win, OMG, that's actually a very important moment for them.
It is the first time in 5 years, no, 6 years, let's say 5.5, that OMG have been outside the first round of playoffs. This team, when they've made playoffs in 2021 summer, 2022 summer, they have always been in the first round. And years before, they didn't even make playoffs because they were a bottom tier team. It's a huge day for OMG, despite the series not being done. And I'm glad it can come off the back of picks like the Rumble, right? Creme on Sylas. Hell, even, Abel having the ability to carry in a lot of these later game fights.
Yeah, they did it their way. That's the thing you take away from this. And OMG, they are a very versatile team when it comes to the draft. When it comes to their gameplay, they pretty much play the same way. They're looking for fights pretty much permanently. But the way that they kind of kit themselves up to do that means that you have to take differences between, like, the first game and the second game. Look at the difference between the way that OMG could approach fights. It's not like they necessarily loaded in with a different mindset in Game 2. They just drafted more ability to outfight what BLG had. So going into Game 3, have to see what side choice will be the side of BLG.
Yeah.
Maybe they walk over towards that blue side themselves, and maybe OMG have some less opportunity to lock in something like that first pick. Aphelios, of course, Abel played very proficiently as well in this kind of game. BLG kind of stunned a little bit by that team fighting performance from OMG.
True. Again, it's not impressive considering that for BLG, like Game 1 was so defined through bottom lane, so defined through the way they wanted to play their win cons. This time around, yeah, stunned is a great word to use. As OMG, congrats to them for securing second round in playoffs at the very least. Now for a win would just cement off the split for them to move to 10 to get above these other round 1 scum. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a break.